And good afternoon, everybody. And we're late. It's JP's fault. No, I blame everything on JP. And we've got Len here too. We're late because it was my fault. JP, how are you?
Very good. Hello, y'all. Thank you for
You
watching
all?
again. You all.
You've been hanging around Dawn too long.
Yeah, I've been hanging around in Texas for a long time.
A long time. Len, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And that's good. I actually took Friday off. I actually went flying, and got warned. Well, because of QSO Today, QSO Today Radio Expo coming up next weekend. Lori was just telling us in a meeting today that that online version of Friedrichshafen or Dayton has over 20,000 people registered.
Over 20,000. My
Yes.
last number was 17,000. Now we have 20,000. Wow.
20,000 people. So I applaud guys like Eric Guth is putting it up from who pronounced that right? From USA to from QSO Today. I can't get my teeth going, and so yeah, we're looking forward to that. And hi, Martin, and we got a bit of DX rolling in from the UK. Andy, I recognize a lot of these names that have been here many times. And JP, you got all moved now. You got the flag corrected.
Yes.
Thank
you for all the comments about the flag. I'm sorry about that.
We learned, and there's Santiago. We learned, by the way, there is a proper way to hang your flag. I only know Canadian flags, but the U.S. flag vertically, and now that's correct. And we didn't say anything in the show about it because we were worried about it. And then I was worried, was JP, is your camera inverted? Because most of them are flipped the other way. So, wow, we've got, let's see, one Node-RED guy. That was Santiago. I'd like to know if you ever got your DMR link working. Ed, how are you? Alan, I don't know if you know it. You're now the guru on Node-RED. You've blown by everything I've ever done, and I've been so busy working on stuff under the covers here with that I haven't had a chance to go look at it lately. So, and Andrew, you're here every week. I'm sorry if you missed us last week. And Len, have you worked in Namibia? You must have.
I haven't in past years. I haven't recently.
And it's going to get a little wet in North Carolina, although I haven't looked at the National Hurricane Center lately. So
we're about to have a thunderstorm here in Austin. I'm waiting for that. Yeah, it's been a while since we don't have any rain here.
Oh, thanks, Ken. Yes, it was you. So, and Santiago, can you connect any other top groups? We can talk about that offline. So,
Santiago, I have news for Santiago and anybody that speaks Spanish. May I share them?
You may share it.
Yeah. So I started uploading the first how-to videos in Spanish for all our Spanish-speaking community in Europe and in South America, Central America, and in the US. Come on. So I started uploading those videos. I uploaded the first today. Please bear with me. I'm going to try to cover absolutely the entire manual, so it's going to take some time. But yes, but it will happen. It will happen. So stay tuned.
Well, I couldn't listen to them because my Spanish is as good as my French, and I was taught French, so it's a funny joke. But yeah, I understand.
You can always enable the subtitles.
Oh, I could. Yeah. That's true. It's amazing how scarily well that works.
Yeah.
And so that's good. So anyway, so let's get going. Len's going to talk about Field Day, and I've got a couple of pictures to show. I'm just busy blacking out the stuff that's got the Elecraft bits in it, but don't worry about it. That's okay. Actually, I'm kidding. I actually own a KX2, and I love their products like most hams. So I'm a ham first, and I work here second. So. And so let me just hit this phone call. And so a couple of things. I know some of you are worried about or curious when Maestros are coming out. It's still a work in progress. we're finding a number of things that are slowing everybody down. So believe me, I think I said this before, we would like to have them shipping as quickly as possible as well, but we can't do it till they're all done and ready. So that's coming. The community, I wanted to check with Tim to see when he was going to pull the trigger. He's got some work to do on it. I suspect it's maybe a week, could be days. I bragged about this on Wednesday. I can't believe the quality of the data import. And if you ever worked migrating data from one end, if you ever worked at any sort of data migration, it's a nightmare. And JP, you saw it already, right? You've logged in.
No, they didn't give me access.
Secret.
Yeah, it's a secret. Yeah,
you're too busy.
Only certain people have access to that.
You're too busy this week, so. And then I know JP has the phone is ringing off the hook, and I honestly am not making that up because I see every time his phone rings at my desk too. So, so we have been so busy and with a lot of product trying to get out the door. So, and thanks to Don,
a lot of questions.
Don, Katie, Kathy, and I hope when you call, we're able to answer your questions. And we try to be there for you. So, JP, what else did you want to add? Your streams, your live stream.
Leave a message when you call us, and I can't get that phone call, please. I mean, we'll return that call. I'll return that call. I got a bunch of calls.
That is frustrating, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So just a quick message like, hi, this is John, please give me a call. That would be helpful.
It's actually good to say what it's about because we may have to route it to a different person. If you have a hardware problem, we might just open a support case for you, or you have a whatever. But just say a little detail. I can't get SmartLink to work, or whatever. So we get it to the right person right away, and it will slow down the recovery time.
Or please, JP, get me an amplifier.
That gets your attention.
Yeah. Actually, we started taking pre-orders for the amplifier, and we are going to start shipping them by the 3rd week of August. I posted a video about that on Twitter this Wednesday. Also, I'm testing the waters on Twitter. I'm slowly gonna post some videos and tweets on that account, so you might want to check that out. Also, we are all adapting to this all new environment, due to COVID. So the whole company and hams are adapting. Having this virtual ham fest, it's mind blowing. We would have thought about that like last year, and 20,000 plus people attending this convention. It's a clear sign of it. So with a new, I might say something also. I've been saying this for quite a while, and with the community, hopefully very soon we're going to have a very new, nice looking website, right, Mike? It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a
Do you have permission to say that yet?
Yeah, over the phone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I say,
so I haven't mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a new website.
I'm looking for it so much. It's gonna be really, really cool. We could take a look at it, and it looks really good. So again, if you want to secure your amplifier, remember, give me a call or drop me an email at sales@flexradio.com. So we're gonna be starting. We're gonna start shipping by the 3rd week of August, and pre-ordering, it will secure your amplifier. We're just gonna place a pre-authorization on your credit card, and we're gonna capture funds once we ship the amplifier. So that's it from the sales department.
I think that's worthy of saying too, because anytime you order from us, there's 2 parts to the
equation.
So we'll grab your credit card, and we may take the number and do a pre-auth, and you may not even notice we probably never knew that anybody ever did pre-authorizations on a credit card, because we never had real-time access to the credit card data. So as a consumer, but now we can see that 20 minutes later, JP processed a $7,000 order, and it's a temporary hold, and it's very similar to if you go into a hotel room now. or book a hotel room, or maybe previously, they actually hold, I think it's 2 or 3 days of nights on your card for a couple of days just to make sure you're good for it. So don't actually capture the funds, which is the credit card term, where they, where they actually take the money from your credit card account. So that's what capturing the funds is about. So, all right, very good. Len, so thank you for joining us. And Len posted some interesting stuff that actually caught Gerald's attention and shared with me regarding Field Day and what he did. So I thought I would ask Len to join us and talk about Field Day. So Len, first off, what got you into ham radio? And I'm sure it was not last week.
It was actually a little bit before that. What got me in was back in the 60s, my dad came across a Hallicrafters S41G, which I still have sitting up on my, it's right in my eyesight. And somebody dropped it off to fix it. It had a blown cap. He and I got in there and he showed me how he fixed it. He was an aerospace engineer at the time. And we threw a new capacitor in there and got it working. And then the guy never came back for it. So after 6 months or something, he says, well, it's yours. And I found ham radio on there. Then a friend of ours was selling something called handy dandies, which are those little deals that plug into pegboards that you put baby food jars on to put your parts in. And he advertised in QST and gave me the sample copies of QST when he was done. And that cemented it. And then by 1970, I was in college trying to get my ham radio license, but I didn't have an Elmer. I didn't know what to do, but I had been studying. And a guy there in the dorm said, well, I can give you the test. Gave me the test. I passed it and been a ham ever since.
You know, funny you mentioned QSTs because I got my ticket about 1974. And I was fortunately in a smaller town of 50,000 people that had a really active ham club. So they had the whole classes and everything. And, you know, I was 14 at the time, so I'd ride my bike. But, you know, so here it is, this 14, 15-year-old, I'm hanging around with all these, you know, seniors, which was freaking my mom out no end. But obviously it turned out okay. But sure enough, if I remember, I think it was Joe V2BV was his call. One of my Elmers showed up at the door one day with a box. Actually, this happened a lot. And the first box he dropped off was about 7 years of QSTs. You know, and that was the smaller format book.
Yes.
And I swear to God, I read every one of them. And there must have been 50 to 75 of them, JP. And I guarantee I read every one of those cover to cover. And Moon Bounce was just starting, and it was in Texas, by the way. And I remember, you know, and these amazing VHF arrays guys were doing on Moon Bounce, and they were doing it in CW. You know, not JT65, and it was just, and some guys were playing on 1296 with some surplus military stuff called an APX. God, it's amazing the stuff that's trapped between my ears. It was called an APX6, and I found one, and I was going to get on 1296. I never finished it, but you know, but yeah, it was amazing the power of the old QSTs then, and because we didn't have the internet, so that was like somebody dropped Google worth of HS stuff on my desktop. Every page, and well, that's cool. So you did Field Day this year. You went up in the mountains in Colorado, and tell us about your station setup. Well, and I'll flip the page up too when you want me to. So just let me know.
Sure. So a good friend of mine, Dave, and that's the first picture. He and I used to go up to this campground and to other campgrounds, and we'd work Field Day with our K2s. And
that page won't load.
Yeah, funny how that is. There he is. That's Dave KG0EW working my K2 at a Field Day last year, and what we discovered was we could not be on the same bands, and sometimes we could not be on bands that are harmonically related with our K2s, even though
like 40 and 20, right? 40 and 20 never works.
40 and 20 was a disaster.
Yeah.
And even though the K2 at the time they came out was kicking everybody's butt in terms of dynamic range and all that other stuff, I mean, they were fantastic radios in their day. But he went out and bought himself a Flex 6400 and a Maestro.
We're supposed to look at the owls here sitting on his antenna.
Yeah, those babies wake me up at 5 in the morning sometimes.
No, they're not stuffed owls. They're real owls. They definitely keep the birds away. By the way, you know what? I have the same Samsung tower.
Oh, that's a Roam 25.
Is it? Oh, the top looks the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Since we're scrolling through your pictures, let's go to this one. I'll come back to your Homebrew Maestro in a minute.
Yes. So what we did, he bought a Flex 6400, and I was getting ready to look at radios, and so I looked at it and I said, "Wow, that's just out of control good." After playing with it for a couple times, I had to have one. So I went out and bought one February of this year, and then tried to buy a amplifier. That's the first amplifier I've ever owned. I've been licensed since 1970. My very first amplifier is that KPA 500.
What did you call this? You had a word for this. Your Flexicraft?
Flexicraft. Makes a good station. So anyway, I was set up just like this at one end of the campground, and 150 yards away was Dave in his ham van that he built out of an old Channel 9 engineering van with a 40-foot pneumatic mast. And he had now that's not the pneumatic mast. That's my push-up.
That's yours.
That's my little push-up mast.
Yeah.
And only about halfway up. That was my first experiment with it. But I put it up to the full 40 feet, and he had his up at 40 feet. We had parallel dipoles, and he also has a hex beam. So on the upper bands, he was running the hex beam, and he and I were not only able to operate on the same bands, there was absolutely no issue with harmonically related bands, but not even any issue with the same band. Now, if we got into the same segment, and
like the same 100 kilohertz type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So if he was on CW and I was on CW, and if I was running the 500 watts, I got in his way a little bit. Not terribly, but it was annoying enough he didn't want to operate there.
Yeah, but not a showstopper.
Not a showstopper.
So this is not the first time I've heard somebody tell me this, and I have friends, V3HG and V3. Harry's going to yell at me because I've forgotten his call sign for a minute, but it'll come back. But yes, they live in near Toronto here, and they're 320 feet apart because they've tried to figure out if they should run a 160-meter long wire between their two properties and not tell the neighbors in between. Every ham thinks of that, of course, and they don't hear each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. In CW. So, well, that's pretty amazing. And the 6400 comes with third order contest band filters, and that's what it gets you, right? And you don't have those weak entry points that you get when you also have mixing products as well. You don't have any mixers, which it's the technical part under the covers. But
I'll say this too, Mike. I believe the transmitter is clean enough that we operated and actually worked each other on CW at 100 watts, and put each other in our logs, right?
Yes.
And it didn't overload the front end of the thing, which to me is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I know we get, I used to be the same way. Oh, you don't want to transmit loud signals if I'm on your frequency, but you have to remember the antenna's because you'd always be worried about all that RF coming right in the receiving antenna of your other radio. But you have to also remember all that RF is still going in the receiving antenna, even though you're somewhere else. So you still have to deal with it in a design phase. So, and what you do. So this is your Homebrew Maestro.
Yeah, I call it a mini Maestro. It uses the IK7 DWH Arduino library.
Yep.
And he wrote all that stuff for version 2 of Smart SDR. I don't know enough about it to be any smarter than to have fooled around with it enough and found a place where the buffer length had changed. I changed that, and it immediately started working. So I can't say that it's in the best condition as a library for operating in version 3, but it absolutely works. And yesterday
So let me interrupt you there for people
yeah,
who are looking at this going, what it is. So every knob there is actually a knob. It's the ability to change a value from the AGCT on the A slice and whatever. And what's happening under the covers, thanks to the Italian, is it's sending the command on the LAN over to the radio, which is a very simple process. And this is why we have vendors like Marcus, who has the Smart SDR for iOS app, or Don from Smart Dog Park SDR that has the Mac app client. This gives them the ability to write a client. So Len has written his own hardware client to talk to the radio, to adjust the volume, his filter widths, and all that stuff that's available. It's not a secret. And this is some of the stuff we're also, I know that Santiago and Alan are doing in Node-RED. I guarantee this is probably a little harder to do than the Node-RED stuff, but this is the open architecture of the radio. And it's bringing this tinkering, to a new level. So carry on with your story. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh no, that was perfect explanation. So so right now I have it with you see VFO A on the left and VFO B on the right, and it does just what you said: the volume, the AGC threshold, and the width, and the high cut, low cut, or width and shift. So if you're in CW, it automatically does that shift and width, and if you're in sideband, it automatically does a high cut, low cut. And
pretty
then
cool.
At the bottom is the mic gain and CW speed. Don't ask me how those are related, but that's what I want. But and I still have a bunch of buttons, so all that blank space that has little circles on it in there is where I'm going to put it. And here's a home brewing tip. That is made out of, that's just a cardboard box. I received some parts from DigiKey or something in that, and I can mock up the box without drilling a bunch of panels and re-drilling panels. I just re-drill a box until it's about what I want. Takes 5 minutes, and actually, the problem with it works too well. I really need to move this into a real box.
Yeah, you're wearing it out.
The cardboard's getting soft, so when I push the button, it's not good.
That's funny. Well, you could glue some popsicle sticks underneath it to stiffen it up. So you're like me too. In my remote station, you guys can watch the video.
Oh, he uses that. Yeah.
Oh, you see?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
We actually also found out that Len and I have I don't know, what do you want to call it? We actually help out with ski racing in the winter, so it's a volunteer job. So in either a technical or standing on a ski hill and freezing your butt off, so that kids can race and ski races. So we quickly figured out that we have a similar background on that. But I'm like you, if you watch the video tour of my HF remote station, I've had 5 versions on it, and version 4, version 1 I had to make it look pretty, but then it was hard to work on. And then version 2, or between 2 and 3, it ended up being all sort of screwed to a 4x8 sheet of plywood in the boathouse. So the pie went here, so I get the drill and go, what? And then okay, there's brackets in the back. I'd hang the modem here, and then the firewall, and then the switch, and everything. And I thought, I'll just staple down all the wires so it'll look good. Well, that lasts about a week as I start to change something, and I'm pulling out all the staples. But that type of breadboarding, and so believe it or not, last night, because there was no hockey games on or anything, and I'm a hockey fan, I went over to the boathouse and I cleaned up the router and the modem and everything, and got it all nice row, and it's up out of the way because there were wires hanging everywhere, and stapled them all down again. So we'll see if that lasts a week. That's pretty stable to at least get to the first switch. So anyway, well, that's really awesome. And the guys at Tinker, this is the part of the hobby I really like, was the ability to it's like buying a car and blinging it out a little bit. You tend to make it your own. And amateur radio was like that, and it got away from it as we got into the bigger box radios, like the Ellercraft, the Icon Pro 3 series or whatever, when you started not being able to fix things and or dig into it, or maybe just modify the taper, the audio, or make the squelch hysteresis look a little differently. That was one of the great things in the QST magazine when it was at was it Hints and Kinks part, right? Hey, I got that radio, I can make that mod, and it made a big difference. So yeah, cool stuff.
I always
thank you.
was
I
looking for
agree
mods.
too. This has been a lot of fun to build, and without the the API being so well done, I couldn't have come up with this with my limited knowledge that I have.
And I was just going to say, do you have a software background at all, or just other than how software works?
I do have a software background, but this will date me. I started off in Fortran, PL1, and COBOL. So
I could do a little better, but only because college hired me. IBM hired me to work in NORAD, sister to Cheyenne Mountain in your backyard.
Oh yeah.
And it was 64,000 tubes, and that language was jovial. But I was working on the hardware, so as I've said in a couple of broadcasts, the memory tubes were 6146, or sorry, 6146 Ws. So
yep.
every ham within 200 miles of that place had free finals.
Yeah.
Because we'd pull them out at 90% capacity. Of course, hams, that was good enough for the rest of the radio's life. So, right. Well, Len, I wanted to thank you for your time and taking part out of a busy day. And JP, any questions for you or anything you want to
add? I think we're good here. Any questions for me, Len?
This is the quietest half hour you've had all week, right?
Yeah. I really enjoy our streamings. Yeah.
I enjoyed this. This is great. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. So, yeah, we're always open to ideas. We're actually going to, I'll let the cat out of the bag. Dave hasn't 100% said okay. I think he did, but I think we've got new software coming up for the BGXL. Okay, so I just let the cat out of the bag. So real soon. So Dave's going to come on when he's going to talk about the changes. And we got some other things we're going to try on that show too. But that's 2 weeks. So we're going to go to every 2 weeks during the summer. It was hard to nail down guests during the summer because of people are up in the mountains or whatever. So when we get back into winter when nobody gets out, and this will probably be a little harder this winter until we get the pandemic bit tightened down a bit more, but congratulations, everybody's up to stage 3, by the way, and getting back to normal. But I think we're doing fairly well, at least in different areas. So Len, 73, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you guys.
JP, 512-535-4713, option 1.
sales@flexradio.com.
And we'll catch you guys later. 73.
73, guys. Take care. Enjoy.
Thank you.